but joining us now here, fresh off of a snow globe victory against the Pittsburgh Steelers, getting ready for a Monday night game, another game in front of the whole country, taking on the Denver Broncos. Jameis Winston back here on the Rich Eisen Show. How you doing, Jameis? Good to see you.
Man, blessed and highly favored, Rich. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving.
Right back at you, Jameis. Did you really like playing in the snow, Jameis? Because your comments after the game where you were just like lit up about your NFL Films moment. But, I mean, you played your college ball in Florida. You're from the state of Alabama. Do you really like playing in those big snowflakes, Jamie?
I thoroughly enjoyed it, Rich. It was an amazing, magical game is how I describe it. Definitely because we finished with a win. But I just wish you were there, man, just to see that snow coming down, getting thicker and thicker. It was amazing.
The thing I think I'm really enjoying about watching you, certainly the last few years, Jameis, is you seem to be present more than ever. And like it's inspiring how present you are, living in the now, living in the present. And where does this come from for you, Jameis?
Well, I think it just comes from one, education, reading, understanding what is mindfulness, what is being in the now, what does that require, and the simple thing is taking the simple approach. It's a book called The Kaizen Way, where you're just doing simple things over and over and over, single-tastic, one play at a time, one day at a time, one breath at a time.
And when did this sort of strike you as the way you wanted to live your life, Jameis?
Man, honestly, I was listening to Kendrick Lamar's album, and he had author Eckhart Tolle speaking throughout the course of the album, and he referenced this book called The Power of Now. I've been working with a sports psychologist, and we always talked about, not just being in the moment, but being the moment. And I read Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, and it really just emphasized the importance of now. We cannot worry about the past. We cannot worry about the future. All we can do is all we can do right now.
Well, that's awesome, but I think you just lost Drake as a fan, Jameis.
No, I think I lost Drake as a fan back in 2017, honestly.
Is that right? But in all seriousness,
that's a story for next time, Rich.
Okay.
I was wondering,
what's
going on there?
I'm like, I don't know. Did you beat Toronto? I don't know. But in all seriousness, how is that translated to wins for you? Do you think?
Well, one, translated to wins for our team. Well, we have a great defense here at Cleveland, and we're being efficient on offense. And I think like one thing that I learned, like my 2019 to 2020 year, where I got the coaching from Bruce Arians, Clyde Christensen, Byron Leftwich, Sean Payton, and got a chance to watch and study Drew Brees. They were so much decision-oriented and not outcome-oriented. Obviously, in Tampa, that 19 year, it was a lot of unfortunate outcomes on the turnover schedule. But when you look at the decision base, the decisions were there. And once I got around Drew and seeing that displayed day in and day out with a head coach who told me about this way of the Canadian football. Hey, let's be efficient on first and second down and not have to get to third downs. Coming from a coach of, no risk it, no biscuit. So just blending those two perspectives and those great coaching styles, because those are two great head coaches of Bruce Arians and Sean Payton, and get a chance to witness it from one of the best quarterbacks of all time in Drew Brees. Now I'm getting it and I'm able to apply it out there on the field.
And, you can make Sean Payton, I guess, lament him instilling anything positive in you on Monday night, right, Jameis? Like you can go into this spot and really wreck that buffet on Monday night.
I know he's gonna have a plan, and I know we're gonna have a plan, and it's about whoever executes that plan to the best of their abilities on Monday night.
So what vibes for you with Kevin Stefanski and vice versa, do you think, James?
Well, the thing with Kevin, man, I think he's one of the most poised leaders that I've ever been around. And I told him this, it kind of reminded me of Coach Tony Dungy, where he never really breaks a sweat unless he's in there early in the morning getting his workout in, or lifting with one of our strength coaches, and he's always positive. Man, we had a conversation talking about Fridays, right? Well, it was a Friday where things weren't as detailed as they were capable of being, or they were required to be. And he said, "You know what, Jameis, you know what I call Fridays? You can't mess up my Fridays," right? And I was like, that's an excellent perspective, and that's how he is. He's just cool. I really have admired how he lets everyone do their job. He has a great perspective from his head coach perspective. Like he gonna have his hand in the pot. He's gonna lead from afar, but he's never gonna step on anyone's toes. He's gonna let the coaches coach. He's gonna let the players play. But if he feels something is required to be discussed, he will not turn the other cheek. He will make sure it's known and addressed.
Well, I mean, he kind of sets that standard within his own household, it appears, when he mentioned he's got a favorite child, and it's not the two sons who were apparently in the press conference room when he said that into a microphone, Jameis.
I feel him so much, because I've been praying that my wife would give me a daughter.
Yeah.
And I would agree with Coach. Like, I know that will be my favorite child. There's no question about it.
Thank you, Jameis.
Because I have two boys and a daughter, and that created a whole storm in this studio this week when he said that, because these guys think my youngest daughter is my favorite, and I love them all the same, Jameis. I love them all the same,
I mean, I think that's a great answer, Rich, to keep all of your kids' ego and charisma up. But we all know that deep down, you have a favorite.
Right? Now this is going again, this conversation in a place I don't want to go. I mean, that's why I've got this sign, best stat ever, right here on the desk, Jameis. I got to just play it all straight, play it all even. I've got Jameis Winston here on the Rich Eisen Show. So let's just switch up a couple things right here. Heisman Trophy, sir. Do you have your eye on this conversation at all in the midst of what you're doing? Because I imagine you've got a vote coming right now.
I'm watching the college football landscape play out, and I would have to say this. I was not a big proponent for all of the conference changing, but, man, it has really made college football exciting again. Getting a chance to watch Oklahoma play Alabama in week 11, right? Getting a chance to see Cal University go down and play Florida State. Like, those are matchups that we never thought that we would get. And obviously the players are doing their thing. I know we see Cam Ward. I know we see the running back from Boise State who are doing electric things. And my guy, Dylan Gabriel out there in Oregon, I mean, you can't take nothing away from him because he's undefeated, leading the Big Ten Oregon Ducks.
That's right.
To undefeated season. So I think it's exciting what's going on, and I know whoever wins that award will be honored.
Well, I mean, is your vote in? Have you?
My vote has not been placed yet.
Okay, so can it be influenced by somebody's performance over the next 2 weeks? Is what you're saying?
I would say this: as a quarterback, I tend to lean towards quarterbacks.
But that kid in Colorado that plays both ways, Jameis, Travis Hunter, one of Prime's multiple Heisman Trophy candidates, is the real thing.
I know Travis Hunter is a superstar, and what I like hearing about Travis Hunter more than just his skill on the field is his character, who he is off the field, not going to parties, not getting involved in anything that's not required to be an all-star athlete. But I probably would pick Shedeur over him. I'm just saying, like, Shedeur is the one that's giving him these opportunities on the football field, and I think what he is doing in that conference is more electrifying, because I remember growing up and watching Colorado, and as a quarterback, for you to change the whole culture of your team and to go out there and put in great games, one game after a time, like despite the outcome. Again, despite the outcome of the game, Shedeur Sanders is playing some of the most elite football that I've seen from a college perspective. And I'm so grateful to talk about him because, they talk about the HBCUs and it is like since that kid has been playing for his dad's team in high school, they have been doubting that kid. And to see him rise above and take on every single challenge, like that's really my pitch. I know their record is going to affect some of the voting, but man, just the way that he's been leading, and I would say he's been leading up under the shadow of his father, of who his father is, remaining poised, remaining consistent, and going out there and just doing his job, man. So that's been more fun to watch from a quarterback perspective than to see the God-given abilities that Travis Hunter has used, making his Charles Woodson type of Heisman ballot.
Yeah, no doubt. His candidacy is valid. There's no doubt about it. And do you think, I asked this question to Johnny Manziel, fellow Heisman Trophy winner, a fellow Heisman Houser of yours, when he was here just a couple weeks ago. Do you think Travis Hunter can do the both offense, defense thing in the NFL? Do you think he can do that? It's no doubt that he can do both. Huh. It is just the question that I would have him, like what does your heart desire? Like he's playing for a head coach who's done something that not all athletes can say that they have done, played in a Super Bowl and played in a World Series. So he's functioning from an energy, and he's having people that are in his ear that have done the inevitable. So yes, it is possible, but I know the detail, the precision of this NFL game, I mean, it requires you to be so focused on your job. And if his job consists of playing receiver and DB in the NFL, then, I mean, that's glory to God, like that's amazing. But I'm sure a lot of people can do that. Probably not to his caliber, but I would love to see him do whatever his heart desires, whether that's DB, whether that's receiver, or if it's both. I know he'll be electric. Yeah, me too. I'd love to see it too. And with Prime, don't forget on top of the World Series and the Super Bowl, hosting SNL, Must Be the Money, all of this stuff too. Don't forget, he did all of those. He touched on every single pop culture touch point, that's Prime. Well, he is, man. He's one of my favorite athletes of all time. Me too. And it's amazing to see his leadership and to see how he's leading for the kingdom, how he's preaching what God's word, and he's leading his kids from that energy, from that perspective. And he's not compromising. And that's one of the most beautiful things about leaderships. Like you see some leaders that get forced into a place of compromisation, even if that's a word, but forced into a place of compromise. And he has not compromised. He has held his kids to a very high standard. He has been honest and truthful. And I'm excited for my fellow Seminole alumni. Well, he'll be in your neighborhood on Monday night, and so that'll be neat for a big time game with your Browns and the Broncos. So last one for you is, when do you start forming what you're going to say to the team? Because everybody's fascinated. Everybody wants to watch you fire up your teammates before a game. When do we start the process, Jameis? The process has started really with my routine in the morning, spending time in the Bible and just studying what the Lord is putting on my heart, studying how the course of the week has been, the time that I've spent with some of my teammates. Sometimes I start conversations just off of individual conversations that I had from a teammate that was struggling in some area, that I can continue to lead him in that area. And then it resonates throughout the whole course of the team. But it's not like I'm rehearsing these speeches, man. I'm just really letting the Lord work through me and saying whatever comes out of my mouth, He's put on my heart, and I'm trying to be impeccable with my word and lead these men to a victory. That's it. Jameis, really appreciate you taking the time. Love watching what you're doing these days. I do hope to see you again, certainly to find out the Drake story. And on top of it, have a great Thanksgiving.
And happy holidays to you, Rich. Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. That's Jameis Winston, everybody, of the Cleveland Browns in advance on Monday Night Football against the Broncos. Just an absolute total delight. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.